All right, welcome back to the Paint Trips podcast. I'm gonna try to not be too close to the mic. I'm not too sure the distance, but I think this works. So I'm gonna be working on this painting here. It's supposed to be LA. I know it doesn't really. I mean, the buildings don't really have shape yet, but yeah. So I'm gonna be doing that. Just talking about whatever. Um, I did a little bit of mixing on my palette beforehand. Um, but yeah, let's try to do another one of these solo ones. That one had too much turpentine, but yeah, I haven't worked on this one in a bit. I added a layer of oil paint to this with the palette knife, and just wanted to wait for it to dry. I've been working on another painting in the meantime. Um, I haven't done one of these lives podcast in a while, so I apologize if I say a lot of ums and likes, and it's been a bit. You got to keep doing it. I think that's what helps you get better. The more you do these podcasts, but yeah, so I just got to do them a little more often, definitely. Um, so tonight, me and my wife have so I guess it turns out she hasn't seen that movie, The Thing. Um, I don't know if any of you have seen that movie, but it's a really awesome movie. It's what is it, like cosmic horror type of movie. I know the practical effects are really cool looking. Obviously, at this point, the movie's kind of old, so the practical effects kind of look dated a little bit. But I don't know. I like that aesthetic in a movie or in the practical effects of movies, where you can tell that these people and you appreciate it just based almost on the craft of it. You know, people spent a lot of time and effort creating these practical effects and then managing to capture them on film. I'm sure not always were these able to do these practical effects in one shot. So I don't know the mechanics to practical effects, but I can really appreciate the fact that I'm sure these didn't take these weren't very quick to create. You know, they took a lot of skill and hours to create these things. But anyway, so we're gonna watch that movie. Hopefully she likes it. It's a pretty good movie. It's not crazy. It's not really scary anymore, but it's pretty. It's a fun movie. It's a really fun movie. We'll say that. Um, but yeah. Um, so sometimes what I like doing is after the first layer is done, uh, when you add another layer on top, you can kind of feather it into each other, you know, because the bottom one's not going to pick up anymore. And then, so I put it on there, and then I just grab like a dry brush and I just move it around softly and just let the paint do a lot of the blending into the bottom, because it gets very transparent in a lot of areas. Seeing not a lot of paint stays on the brush. It's just very, you know, not a lot of paint. So I know you guys saw me add a lot of blues. So I'm gonna feather out those blues. And I think what's gonna work with this is if I feather out these light colors, um, feather them out, and then come in with the dark color and feather out that in specific areas. It'd be a little more controlling with a darker color. Um, hopefully I'm live. I don't know if people are actually viewing this, but yeah. All right, so I have three brushes. I don't know why I start reverting back into talking about the paint. Um, I have no idea why I always do that, but I guess it's a good safety to be talking about what I'm doing here, and then, but so I really miss having guests. Um, don't get me wrong, it's fun to do these, but I think what made the podcast a lot of fun for me was the fact that I could, you know, talk to another artist and kind of get to know the type of person as well as the type of artist they are. I don't know about you guys, but I always have a fucking ridiculous amount of questions to ask an artist, whether it's and sometimes they're really random. But I do like talking to artists and getting their point of view on art as well. Um, because I kind of or how they view art. Not saying one way of viewing things is right over the other. I only know my point of view in art and why I like art and the reasoning for me to do art and create art and how I view it and what the purpose of it is in my life. And I I know it's not the same for everybody else, you know, that point of view or viewing art in that way and what it does for people. I know there's a lot of similarities in a lot of things, but it's not the same. It's definitely not the same for everybody because every artist I talk to, they have a different reasoning for doing art and a different purpose that art has in their life. It's still the most important thing in that person's life. What was that? I guess I ran out of breath. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it's viewed in their eyes different, and I like exploring that and getting to know the differences in other people's views. I don't know if it's helped me. I know it definitely has made me view a lot of things a bit differently with every person I talk to. I also learn a lot of things with every person I talk to that I may not have known, and whether it's right or not, just getting to know a person's view based on their experience is really interesting as well, and you kind of get to know a person, an artist, a little more, and I it's really difficult for me to explain what the podcast does to me and what I enjoy about it. But I like to talk about it more often because I know the more I talk about it, the easier it's gonna get for me to understand it myself, and kind of dissect what I like and what I don't like. I mean, so far there hasn't been anything I don't like about the podcast. I mean, I guess the only thing would be maybe setting up. It can get a little tedious because I do the podcast in the same place I paint, so I have to kind of set up the podcast and put away all my painting stuff, and then after that. But honestly, that's such a small price to pay for like the fun. I've had people over for hours. Like before you know it, um, it's been 2 or 3 hours, and you still want to talk more to this artist. You don't really notice, and thank God I have talked to artists, and they don't feel like it's been a drag. At least not yet, I guess. So far, I've been getting positive feedback from the guest. Um, I don't have a lot of people viewing the podcast, but it that doesn't really matter. I really appreciate getting to know the artist, and the really cool thing about the internet is that it's an archive that hopefully will be there for longer than I'm gonna be alive. So if I can archive these conversations with these artists, maybe they can revisit, or maybe people in other countries, or people at whatever time past the time I'm here stumble upon this, they might get to know an artist from the past, and kind of see how artists from the past or whatever viewed it. I know that's a weird way to kind of view the podcast, but or even it doesn't even have to be the future. It could be literally the artist I've talked to 10 years from now, and then maybe they can go back and be like, oh shit, like I've grown so much from then, and maybe they could like get a little bit nostalgic, and maybe view themselves and see how the state they were mentally at that point in their life when we had that conversation. And I don't know. I mean, people, you can use the podcast for whatever, or it could be used for whatever. But this is why I'm not so worried about whether people are viewing it or not. I'm pretty much archiving these things. If nobody's viewing, it's cool, but at least they'll be there, and they'll be there hopefully longer than I'm here. But I got to keep doing these. I got to keep doing them to make it a little more, to make it easier for the guest, um, when doing these, so we don't have a lot of like dead air or whatever, and they can just kind of feel natural as well. Um, the other day, one of my friends said they had discussed the podcast with some of their friends, and I thought that was so cool. Like, just the fact that some past guests are still, still remember the the podcast, or at least having a conversation with me. So I always thought that was really cool. But anyways, the guest was telling me that her friend, um, she, I guess they like the podcast, and they enjoy, that I make the guest comfortable enough to just enjoy the time they're here. And honestly, that really made me feel really good, because sometimes I overthink things, or I feel like I interrupt too much, and I'm constantly beating myself down over my lack of experience doing these podcasts. But hearing some words of encouragement from people who have been here, and saying that they felt, even though I wasn't as experienced, they still felt comfortable, and that really made me feel good. And like, that's why I want to keep doing these solo ones, so it gets easier for me to speak, and I don't have to pause as often, because I'll think a bit quicker. I'll speak a bit quicker and a little more coherent. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't know. I just get more comfortable speaking into the mic, the more I do it. Anyways, so always like going to my safety, which is talking about the painting. But I think I gotta do a little bit more mixing. Hope I didn't smack into the mic or anything. Um, oh, but yeah, I just got to keep doing the brushing with this soft brush. See, no paint, no real chunks of paint get picked up. So it's good to do these fluffy little blends, you know. But It works. It works for the clouds. You know, that's for sure. Oh, anyways, I was talking about how me and my wife are gonna see the thing. So, like I said, hopefully she enjoys it. The other day we were gonna watch Antebellum. I think that's what it's pronounced. Anyways, we were gonna watch that, and I cheaped out because it was like $20. I thought it was gonna be like $10 to rent, because it's only like a 24-hour viewing or 48-hour viewing, and it's $20. So I guess I cheaped out. I mean, it's not a lot of money to rent it. I guess it would be the same price as it would be you going to the theater to watch it. So I don't know why I'm cheaping out, but I don't know. I guess it's not as cool watching it in your own house, as going to the theater. I fucking miss the theater. Um, One thing I used to love doing was on hot days, I would just go to the $3 movie theater and just sit and watch whatever fucking movie. I didn't even care about the movie. Honestly, I just wanted to be in the nice room, nice AC fucking spot, and that's just how I cool down on hot days. I would just go to the theater and just fucking cool ass theater, just super cool. $3 ain't shit to watch a fucking movie. Obviously, it's not the fucking brand new spanking release. It's a little bit older. It's been out a bit longer, but I haven't. I mean, who fucking watches every single movie that comes out when it comes out? You watch it whenever you watch it. So those $3 movies, doesn't even matter. The biggest worry with the $3 movies was showing up and being able to show up on time to have multiple choices in viewings. Because if you show up at a certain time at those $3 movie theaters, you're left with a really bunk ass movie and only one movie. Like you don't even get a choice. It's just whatever the fuck is there, and at that time. But if you show up at a certain time, you get, a choice. I know it doesn't matter. I'm not even really watching the movie. Um, but still, you know, you don't want to fall asleep. Although I'm notorious for falling asleep in the theater. I don't know what. I always fucking fall asleep. For the most part, I fucking fall asleep. It could be a brand spanking new movie, fucking sick ass, and I'm fucking knocking out. Just snooze. I get so comfortable watching movies. I swear. That's just something I haven't been able to get over. If I get too comfortable watching a movie, sleep, just snore dizzle. But yeah, I don't know. I've tried to stop it, but for the most part, I have to kind of take an energy drink before I go into the theater. Uh, Especially if I've smoked before. Like if I smoke before I go into the theater, I definitely gotta get some kind of energy drink, maybe a coffee, something. Because honestly, I'm gonna fucking snooze. Um, but yeah, I'm really liking how these clouds are looking. They look pretty cool. I'm not one thing I always tell people who are kind of wanting to get into oil painting, um, and I'm only saying I don't know a lot about oil painting, but one thing I know that you have to do, regardless of what, it's just one thing you have to kind of force yourself to do with oil paintings. But I'm sure people do it with so many others. Is you're not gonna finish um, paintings in one go, unless you do alla prima. Those you might be able to finish in one sitting. Um, so I guess it's not a rule for oil painting only, but I always recommend, unless you're really good at alla prima, which a lot of people are, um, just don't expect to finish a painting or a piece in one fucking sitting. For the most part, like I said, alla prima is different. Hold on. You're gonna, for the most part, you're gonna take multiple goes at this. It's gonna take multiple sessions. You know, it might not even take a ridiculous amount of sessions, to be honest, but it's gonna take multiple sessions. So, not wanting to rush through this is gonna make it easier to create really dope effects. Really awesome blends. I don't know why I said blends like that. But anyways, yeah, really awesome blends and really cool glazes. I'm not the best at glazing. I'm still learning myself. And I don't even think I'm good. I'm honestly half of the shit I do when I paint, I fucking wing it. I wing it in the sense like, oh, I know how to do certain things, but it's not like I have everything mapped out. And like I have a reference, but not everything's mapped out. And I think that's what makes painting for me so enjoyable because it's a lot of it is worked out up here. A lot of it is worked out up here in on the canvas as I move around, as I work with what's on here. Yes, I do a lot of pre-sketching and figuring out stuff beforehand. Um, but still, just getting the right brush strokes and getting the right color blends and all that. A lot of the fun part about all that stuff is you get to do it up here. You get to figure it out up here. Um, and I really enjoy that. I, and look, right now, I added some terpenoid up here and paint and just add a little wash to some of this stuff up here. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about the painting. I like it. I like talking about it a little bit, but sometimes it's just good to not explain things. Yeah, hopefully this is recording good. Wonder if maybe this little brush will work real good. I don't know. Anyways, this is a lot of fun. I love fucking painting. Like I really like it. So I love painting with oils. Let me. I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. I've been painting with gouache. My wife got me this really dope Artix. I'm not sure how to pronounce the company, but she got me these really cool gouache set. It's really dope, and that's what I've been doing. A lot of the paintings I've been posting, like the Kendrick eyes, the Tupac, the Mac Miller. I've been doing them with gouache. And don't get me wrong, gouache is really dope. I'm learning it. Uh, there's things I still need to figure out how to properly do. Um, and it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time to do that because I don't really know it just yet. But it's really dope. But man, like it might be the gouaches too. They're not like high end gouaches, but the vibrancy of oil colors just I can't I can't get that with gouache or acrylic. And I know there's mediums and stuff to get the vibrancy uh, of acrylics to look like oils because I've seen some amazing artists make acrylic paintings and they look just like oil paintings, because their blends are so smooth. Um, but still, these It's oil colors. I don't know. I might be super biased. I just can't get over them. I think they're probably the coolest for me to work with. They're my go-to medium whenever possible. It's not always possible to work with oils. The bad thing about oils is you kind of have to be patient with them and just let them do their thing, and then you got to come back. Just take your time with it and don't rush it. You know, let these glazes work for you. I'm adding some light purple glazes. Just working some of these glazes. Anyways, uh, oh, have you guys? I just started watching this show called "What We Do in the Shadows." I think that's what it's called. "What We Do in the Shadows." Oh man, it's kind of like a documentary-ish comedy on. It's like a comedy sitcom on like vampires in like the modern world, and one of the vampires that I think is like super funny is called an energy vampire. And I think I'm gonna do a portrait of the character because he's so funny. But he's an energy vampire. So the other characters are like regular old school vampires, but they introduce him, and he's like, yeah, he's an energy vampire. He's like, those people that just kind of, with their presence, they talk to you and they just drain your energy, and you're just exhausted by the time you're done talking to them. He's like, that's an energy vampire. And then they cut it to the character, and the character's like some dorky guy in the office just having this dull ass conversation about some dull ass shit in the office. And people around him were just like tired and bored because this guy has such dull conversation that he thinks is interesting, and it's funny. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen that show, you should check it out. It's pretty funny. I haven't finished it. I think I might be in season two, maybe, or like really far in season one. I'm not sure if there's a season two. Uh, but anyways, it's super funny. I really recommend for people to watch it. Uh, but yeah, so I started watching that not too long ago. I've watched so much shit, because of the quarantine, quarantine. Wow, the quarantine, quarantine. What the fuck? No, because of the quarantine. Um, so I've been watching all kinds of shows. Uh, I watched a couple episodes of Sister Sister. Not bad. I mean, a lot of the jokes are really old. Like I'm like way older. They're not as funny as I thought, but sometimes they kind of are. Um, so that I've been watching that show. I watched a couple episodes of that, and then I watched a couple episodes of Jimmy Neutron. Fucking Jimmy Neutron, still funny. Honestly, still fucking funny. It's I don't know. The characters are just they're pretty fucking funny. Anyways, I yeah, Jimmy Neutron's funny. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty funny. How long have I gone? Gone about half an hour. Let's do this half-hour sessions of painting live, and I'll get better and better at them. And maybe the better at them I get, the longer we can go in the sessions. But for now, half hour. Let's cap them out before I start to run out of shit and it's just dead air. So catch you guys on the next live session. I'll probably work on this one. If not, I'll work on this little big bear cabin that I got commissioned for. But I'll work on this off the podcast, like not live. And then the next session, I'll probably be doing the buildings. But all right, guys, thanks.